Serious, what are some everyday things that kill people because most don't know about it? U/designer_sheets responded. I know of a few things, all fire-related. Pinched electrical wires, having for example, a table leg or something on top of a wire creates a hot spot that can eventually start a fire. Toasters under cabinets, if you have a toaster on your countertop, and have cabinets mounted above that countertop, leaving the toaster directly under the cabinets while in use is also a fire hazard. Be sure to pull it out from beneath the cabinets before use. Not sure if this one is still unknown by most people, but I'll add it just in case. Water does not put out a grease fire. It makes it worse because the grease oil is less dense and floats on top of the water and continues to burn, so pouring water on a grease fire is likely to just spread the grease and fire around. Baking soda, a lid cover of some kind, or of course a fire extinguisher will all smother the fire without spreading it around. U/some random user 00 responded. Poor dental hygiene, gum infections hit the brain fairly quickly and can be fatal before you even knew something was happening. Edit brush your teeth and talk to a dentist. Most will try to work with you on the money side if you don't have insurance. If not, try contacting a dental school near you. They are often looking for test subjects, patients to work on for training. U/dons responded. Stress. Stress is a state when your body feel threatened and produce hormone to defend yourself, which will typically boost your muscle and reduce to minimum other function, like digestion, your kidneys, and overall all organs that aren't involved in fighting off a bear. If you're always stressed, chronic stress, you will damage your organs. All of them. At once. Chronic stress is a poison, you must avoid it. Note that normal, episodic stress like you're taking an exam today or you have 13 missed calls from mom aren't going to kill you. Well, not the stress at least. U/deleted responded. Balloons. Specifically kids. I was watching a video how a lot of kids die from playing with balloons. You know how kids are all dramatic and breathe really hard in and out to blow them up? Sometimes they suck in so hard that they suck the balloon into their throat, lodging it in there. And CPR doesn't work once they stop breathing because you're just inflating and deflating the balloon in the throat and the air can't pass through. I don't even have kids, but LVE been telling everyone not to let their kids play with balloons since I learned this. I forget her name, but she is a mortician who posts on Instagram about common things that can kill you that you don't realize. U/JackTheStripper17 responded. Humans are squishy unless they aren't. Somehow we have evolved to either have the durability of a bouncy ball or a glass bauble, and it's a coin flip on whether you bounce or shatter. So, fights. People think it's like in the movies, and sure, maybe sometimes things go okay and you work it out and everything's chill, but if you pick a fight in real life you had better be very ready for the possibility that you could kill someone, especially, if you don't mean to. If you shove someone and they fall wrong, they can die. If they hit their head, or you hit them in the head wrong, if you hit someone in the nose just right, a bone can pierce brain, the temple is a very vulnerable spot, etc., they can die. People don't always fight fair in real life. There's every chance they have a knife or keys or rings or even a gun, or they pick up a fucking shovel and throw it at your head like that video that went viral several years ago. This isn't a "I'm a badass who could totally kill someone" thing, it's more a survivor bias thing. On average, yeah, you'll probably be okay. But I'd rather not take the chance, personally. U/Pinboard Wizard responded. Alcohol. Not only does it cause all the problems you already know about, but less than half of the population are aware that alcohol has been proven to cause cancer. The amount of people who know this of course varies depending on the demographic. A few years ago in the UK this number was actually only around 10%. It's not a Group 2B carcinogen, possibly causes cancer, like gasoline, or even a Group 2A carcinogen, probably causes cancer, like red meat. Alcohol is a Group 1 carcinogen, which means it is proven to cause cancer. U/Spy653 responded. Water. Specifically the turbulent section just after a dam, waterfall, or weir. There's a section just after the fall called the boiling point. You can see it as a line where the bubbles flow upstream rather than down. It's called aerated or non-buoyant water. It's caused by the turbulence. It means that shit doesn't float in it, but you'll absolutely still drown in it. It claims the lives of kayakers, animals, and unlucky bastards, all the time. I think you can escape it in certain circumstances by swimming under and out, but I think usually it's try and keep breathing and hope somebody saw you fall. U/The backup archives responded. Watering down your infant's formula. Too much water in their system can make them sick or even die. Follow the directions. Don't save a few bucks by watering down your baby's bottle. Note, if you, like me, accidentally not add enough milk in one bottle, your baby will be fine. Baby may have a tummy ache and some diarrhea, but they will be fine. If you notice while they are eating, just add in whatever amount of formula you skipped in their bottle and have them finish it. If they drank the bottle and you didn't notice, just add whatever amount of formula you skipped in the next bottle and take steps so you don't do it again. I now just out loud count out how many scoops I am pouring into the bottle and how many ounces of water. U/spark_saber responded. When using a condom there are different sizes, and no matter how big your member is, you can still use a condom. STDs are a real thing. Don't go raw unless you'd rather be raw dead in the ground. Edit, I should clarify. I am saying that you should use a condom. I'm not arguing how effective a condom is, only that it is better than nothing. Also, STDs are still dangerous. Yes, it may not be a death sentence anymore, but they can still be dangerous. U/beneficial_effect 522 responded. Pregnancy and childbirth. Seriously, we don't talk about how many complications there truly are. I'm experiencing one that has killed many women in the past, hyperemesis gravidarum. Basically worse than morning sickness, it causes non-stop, sometimes barely treatable nausea and vomiting that can go beyond the pregnancy by some time. I'm in and out of the hospital constantly, and if it weren't for FORS I wouldn't have survived my pregnancy that I'm not even done with now. There's also alloimmune thrombocytopenia, Rh factor, ectopic pregnancies, preeclampsia, posteclampsia, eclampsia, generally bleeding out, immunocompromised system unable to fight off things like COVID or chickenpox, gestational diabetes, DVTs pleural effusions, because clots are more likely, anxiety, depression. The list goes on. But those are the big ones. Edit for formatting. U/Dashi_2010 responded. Electricity, just be careful. From someone who in an amazing feat of bad luck accidentally dropped a screwdriver across the terminals of a rather large and powerful unprotected battery, consequently causing welding said screwdriver to said battery terminals, triggering the whole thing to pressurize and bang not too long after LD bolted out the barn. Not a fun day, lots of not so nice chemical smells that smell oddly like cat piss and the awkward process of binning it all, not to mention the cost. U/Demonif Death and Choas responded. How to use roundabouts and not having four-wheel drive. If you live somewhere with snow you absolutely need this. Saw a car the other day fall backwards down a hill and crashed. I was driving with my mom and a lady was going the wrong way on the roundabout and barely missed us. Safe driving is very important along with wearing a seatbelt. Although you can still die in a crash, it greatly increases your survival rate if you crash. Drunk driving and just unsafe driving in general. If you are drunk or on any substances you should not be driving during that time period. Call a taxi, Uber. You put yourself and others at risk, and for what? Also wear a helmet. Just because you have never hit your head riding a bike or whatever doesn't mean it won't happen. Follow driving laws and stay safe. U/BMCCJ responded. See difference after antibiotics. Our son died of this while a sophomore in college. He took strong antibiotics for pneumonia in Jan-February and then died just months later of C. difference. C. difference is an imbalance when bad bacteria takes over good bacteria in the large intestines. Read this as your reminder to eat your probiotics: sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, yogurt, kombucha, tempeh, miso, pickles, cheese, buttermilk, apple, cottage cheese, Yakult after you've been on a course of antibiotics. Had our son eaten some probiotics or yogurt after the antibiotics, the good bacteria in his large intestines might have come back as fast as the bad bacteria did. He reported being sick only 3 days before the helicopter took him to the hospital. Then surgeons wanted to remove his large intestines. He died and was revived with electric paddles twice on the operating table and then died hours after the surgery. Health insurance lapsed as I changed jobs only days before the surgery and they came after me for the full $20,000 bill for the surgery. Eat some probiotics today. U/Fulaticus responded. Carbon dioxide poisoning. Specifically in walk-in coolers for bars. CO2 lines for kegs can leak and fill the room with CO2. It forms a heavy layer near the floor, so what happens is you walk in the cooler, everything seems fine, then you bend down, catch a big lungful and pass out almost instantly, then asphyxiate. What's awful though, is what happens next. In a very large number of cases, the person who discovers them runs up and kneels down to see if their coworker is okay. Then they catch a big lungful of CO2 and pass out as well. The lesson here is, if you open a door to an enclosed space and there's a dead person in it, be careful. Also, CO2 alarms are cheap and easy to install, and your boss probably isn't aware of the danger posed or they'd have installed one for you already. U/Don 2070 responded. Sleep apnea. A lot of people have it in varying degrees, but either don't know it, ignore it, or can't afford to treat it. People do not realize the damage it does, and most don't realize you can die directly from it, as a result of medical issues caused by it, or get into accidents on the road or at work from the fatigue it causes. It doesn't just affect overweight people. CPAP machines can be $700 plus without insurance, plus replacing and maintaining the equipment needed to operate one. You can't even buy one without a prescription. It can cause heart issues, high blood pressure, and diabetes in addition to the other negative effects. U/Tiki 1966 responded, "Dust is explosive. Dust explosions are the result of high concentrations of combustible dust particles rapidly combusting inside an enclosed space. When mixed with oxygen, these fine particles can be ignited when coming into contact with a spark, metal ember, cigarette butt, or other ignition source. This quick combustion process is known as deflagration, and results in a high-pressure airwave. As the airwave explodes out of its enclosed space, it will likely dislodge or stir up combustible dust elsewhere in the facility. This will mix the dust with the oxygen in the air, which will make the explosion bigger, and potentially fuel a second dust explosion or even several. Some of these may occur inside other machines or containers, as the pressure wave and the fire propagate through the duct system. At this point, the risk of harm to human life, and of destruction of equipment or even entire buildings, is overwhelming. U/ECHECOECHO_ responded, "Swallowing stuff. It doesn't matter how old you are or how well you've chewed it, anything is dangerous if you swallow it wrong enough, especially things you were never supposed to swallow. One time a few years ago I was taking apart a Lego build, but I got lazy and used my teeth. Thank God it went down the stomach side, but still, even despite a grape popsicle, a free viewing of Shrek, and throwing it up before an X-ray and going home in an oversized hospital gown, it was horrifying. Don't eat Legos, kids." U/synthetics_66 responded, "Deep fat frying a turkey for the holidays. Never do this indoors. Never do this in your garage with your door open cause you think it's enough. Remember about liquid displacement. You know how water and oil don't mix very well, especially when the oil is already at a rolling boil? Guess what happens when you drop a frozen turkey in there? Boom time. While frying a turkey might not outright kill you, they are one of the leading causes of structural fires in some parts of the US during the holidays." U/ChickMD responded, "Button batteries. They burn a hole in your esophagus, or trachea if you inhale it. It is very common for kids to ingest them. If your kid does swallow one or you suspect they have, go to the emergency department immediately. Feed your kid honey on the way there, as it can coat the battery and stop it from burning a hole. Unless your kid is under 2, then they should not have honey. Your kid will need it to be removed immediately. However, if it makes it to the stomach, you do have more time, as the acid in the stomach can help neutralize the battery. The real danger is if it gets stuck in the esophagus or inhaled. I have seen holes the size of a quarter at the carina, junction of your two main bronchi in your lungs, holes in the esophagus that got all the way to the aorta, and kids with permanent G-tubes and esophageal strictures from button batteries. Hide your button batteries." U/Captain_Jeep responded, "Lack of sleep. Feel asleep on the wheel once. Drove off the road and was 5 feet away from being impaled by a guardrail, 20 feet away from a flat rock wall and 50 feet away from a lake. I was rolling at about 100 kilometers per hour. Had I fallen asleep just a fraction of a second later, I most likely would not have survived. Got lucky and hit a nice gradual gravel ramp, even the car was just scratched a bit. Don't drive if you are tired, take a nap on the side of the road if you have to. There's no point pushing yourself if you run the risk of getting there in a hearse." U/Deleted responded, "Unstable furniture. Especially when it comes to kids. And cats. IKEA got it right with the cheap wall connectors that are easy to install, if you know how to use basic tools. My mom's work friend lost her toddler in the late 90s, early 2000s, when TVs were still gigantic boxes of machinery. It was sitting on a low table, but the carpet at the time was new and still very fluffy, so that caused the table to slant. The heavy-ass TV slid off the table, and she was lying on the floor, so it crushed her head. Police came and said it happened a lot more than people think. Secure your furniture, folks, especially around kids and pets. It's a huge part of baby toddler proofing." U/Baconman363636 responded, "Radon. It's a byproduct of decaying uranium, and the industry that mitigates it spent too much money lobbying instead of spreading real awareness, so most people don't learn about it until they go to sell a house. I think, it's been a while since LVE checked, the second leading cause of lung cancer, and gets into your house because the foundation causes a negative pressure that sucks it up through your floor. You can get a system installed that pulls a slight vacuum and pumps it outside instead. Testing for it is easy to do, and radon levels can vary widely from house to house in a region, so go get yours tested. Some people are getting exposed to the point where the cancer risk is the same as smoking multiple packs of cigarettes a day and have no idea. You/GingerMonkey1 responded. If you're on antibiotics because you're sick, don't stop taking them once you feel better. I had a friend whose wife threw up from them, so she stopped taking them for the flu cold thing that she had. Her and her very young daughter were both sick. This was around Thanksgiving time. Suddenly at Christmas she is suddenly horribly sick. A trip to the ER ended up with her in the ICU with sepsis. They were talking about amputating her arms and legs, and they had no idea how much brain damage she had. Her organs were damaged and eventually failed. She was dead by New Year's Eve. She left behind 2 young girls ages 4 and 6. TLDR, take all your antibiotics. You/Orm1688 responded. Some everyday thing is putting off or just straight up ignoring health concerns. My dad ignored his symptoms that were heart palpitations, shortness of breath and fatigue. He knew something was wrong because he kept reminding me that he loved me, but he kept putting it off because he didn't want to take time off from work to go see his doctor. By the time he finally went to see the doctor was like, you either get your wife to take you to the hospital or I'm gonna have to call an ambulance to take you to the hospital right now. His heart was in a fib. Once he was hospitalized, he never returned home alive. Then in 2020, started having changes in my vision. I started getting white fuzzy spots in my vision that only occurred when I was on my cycle, and my cycle had also changed from regular flow to super heavy flow, so I thought that the white fuzzy spots were due to my cycle changing, but I also figured that it had something to do with getting older. Turned out that white fuzzy spots in your vision is a symptom of high blood pressure, and because I ignored it and didn't get it checked out, it was unmanaged and I wound up having a stroke from a brain bleed caused by untreated high blood pressure. The stroke nearly killed me. The neurosurgeon even told my family that I wouldn't survive. You/Zadgeruslives responded. Button batteries. They burn flesh when wet and are in a shitload of kids' toys, household devices. Little ones swallow them or just put them in their mouth and the burning begins. Please double check your remotes and toys have screw-on backs. Unsecured furniture. So many people, mostly kids, die from furniture falling on top of them. Please secure your furniture to the wall. TVs and dressers are the biggest contributors. Vending machines. Never ever climb or shake a vending machine. Thousands of people die daily by being crushed to death. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Leave your own stories down below, I would love to read them. If you would like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe, it helps me out greatly.